Welcome everyone to our most recent episode of CoLiving Canada. I'm really happy to be here today with my colleagues Duncan Goheen and Mark Powell. My name is Kris Stevens, and we are partners in a new venture that's working with both seniors as well as intergenerational co-housing communities that are trying to form and develop projects across Canada. Today we're going to be talking about a few different topics, and I think Mark is going to be the one that takes the lead for most of the discussion, but Duncan and I will both throw in some commentary as we go as well. So Mark, what topic are we looking at today? What is it that you want to highlight?
Today we're just going to focus on the actual co-housing process. I think that's one of the questions that come up most often when we talk to people who are at our information sessions.
Okay, great. So now the co-housing process really gets broken into two main streams, one being the community formation process and the second being the development process. So why don't you take us through the community formation process first?
Sure, thank you. So as the slide says here, forming a community takes time. And I think one of the challenges that people have is the whole issues around co-housing in itself is challenging. Aging is challenging. Things that we face with every day that we don't necessarily want to talk to people about, and we're not prepared for it. And so when it comes to co-housing, we automatically want to go to the end result here. And questions we hear from people are like, when can we live in this place? And how much is it going to cost? And what we want to point out is actually, there is this, as you start at the beginning here at step one, there is a very pragmatic step-by-step process that we work. It's been a process that was invented by the Danes and the Danish government in the 1980s. It's been done over and over again. And about 20 years ago, architects McCammett and Durant in the US brought this process into the US. So if we go to the next slide, what we'll see is here, this is the actual process from a forming community perspective. So gathering the interested community is something that we do through our information sessions. The information sessions are free, and they bring people together to see if we can come to a common understanding of what co-housing is about, and to be able to look around the room and go, wow, we're very powerful. These 20 or 30 or 40 people together, we could really get some stuff done together. Right. So after that information session is where we then start these Aging Successfully workshops. And the whole idea of the workshops is to get people out of denial and recognize that we are all aging. We are all going to be facing the challenges around aging and also how to age successfully as seniors in that place. So these workshops take typically, they're sort of one night a week for 10 weeks. And by the end of the result of the workshop, what we do know is, say there are 25 to 35 people in the workshop, that about 40% of those will look around and go, yeah, let's do this. Let's move on to the next stage, which is the stage of actually forming community, understanding what our needs are, and then beginning to design the community based what our shared needs are as a group. And it also allows us to develop trust and intimacy in relationship, a sense of belonging, which I think is the key piece that comes out of this, because we know one of the most significant challenges as seniors as we get older is isolation and being by ourselves and not being able to take care of ourselves. So as we move a little further along through this, we can go, wow, I like these people, I trust these people, there are things that we can help each other with, this feels just right. So that process in itself will take sort of another 12 to 18 months to go through. But after at the end of that, doing this together, we know that the odds are probably more than 60% in our favor, that within that time period of sort of 18 to 24 months, maybe 3 years at the most, we should all be living in the seniors co-housing that we designed and that we live in together. Great. And that's how the process works.
Now, we talked a lot during the course of the Aging Successfully workshop around denial and the ideas of how old is too old to get into a co-housing community, and how early should you start talking about this stuff. So perhaps Duncan or Mark, could you speak to that for a moment, just around how early should we get started, and is there a expiration date on participating in this sort of thing? And also aging successfully sounds like it's just targeted at seniors, but where's the relevance, or what is the relevance for intergenerational community people?
Yeah, those good points, Christopher. It's interesting in terms of housing issues. It seems to be an intergenerational issue. The benefits of co-housing seems to extend right across the population, simply because it meets our needs as human beings, the social side of it, the community side. It's more cost effective and so on. Very recently here in British Columbia, it's becoming very, very clear that all age groups interested in housing are having to do a rethink and so on. And in terms of, so the lower end, for sure, people trying to get into housing where they have an equity interest and so on, there's certainly appeal there, but certainly in terms of the senior end, there just isn't housing stock that's available for people, and then you add in the community dimension and the upper age limit. Really, I don't think there is one. It's because people, we've seen a lot of communities where people live there for the rest of their life, kind of a thing, and with the community support and so on.
Right. So the idea is really to start planning your community so that when the time comes, you're living in a network, in a community of people that can be supportive, whether you are young and have a new family, or whether you're older and aging, and you might be fine now and may not need support, or may not need people to help care for you or provide some of the day-to-day check-ins even. But it's better to start now rather than say, well, I don't need this now, I'll worry about that later. And then later comes and suddenly you don't have the time, the capacity, or the resources to actually form the community around you.
Yeah, exactly.
I would think the simple answer from my perspective, I mean, when I started thinking about seniors co-housing and where I was going to live, the moment that question comes to mind for me is the moment when I need to start pursuing that line of thought. As soon as my wife and I said, well, where are we going to live from here? We're going to be empty nesters soon. That to me was the right time to start thinking about seniors co-housing, because it takes time. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's appropriate to just engage in that process.
Right. And Mark, you've spoken a little bit about your own mother too, and her housing situation, giving you some insights into the decisions that you want to make in order to set yourself up for success as well, right?
Yes. I think what brought me into forming CoLiving Canada with you guys is just recognizing, look at my mom's situation, who's well off and is in a nice place, and she's depressed and she's unhappy. And part of me said, I don't want to live there. What should I do? So I was really relieved to understand that there is a process that has been proven, it's been done hundreds of times in North America, and that this will allow me to work through with the people that I choose to solve this particular challenge.
I think I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes that we recorded that I was speaking with a colleague, Soren Hermansen, from a small little island called Samso in Denmark. And he was saying that I think it's about 14% of the population is actually living in co-housing in Denmark. And the norm, if you're aging, is to move into a community and not to be by yourself, and that most people actually aren't interested in living in the suburbs anymore, but are looking for opportunities to actually create or live in a network or a community of people that's supportive and that improves their quality of life, because it's not just about the size of the house. It's really about the proximity issue. Where's it located, and how close are you to things that are, and the people that are important to you.
Yeah. So if I'm watching this and I'm interested in this, what do I do?
Well, I think the answer is check us out and visit our website at CoLiving Canada, and it's colivingcanada.com. You can find out information there about our workshops, as well as the resources and capacity building training that we do, and the network of other partners that we're working with to make co-housing a success here in Canada. And check out some of the other videos as well.
Great. Okay. Anything else we need to add before we wrap up?
I think I look forward to anyone who wants to meet us in this place and work through co-housing with us, and look forward to meeting with these people again in our next video.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Duncan.
Okay.